Behind the Brand features the people who are making things happen. Get the insight to grow your biz from experts who've done it. Get behind the brand.
Hi, everyone. We're here with Seth Godin.
Hi, Brian.
We're really glad that you made it out. Seth is the author of a new book, Linchpin, and we wanted to talk to you about that and kind of get your thoughts. But I guess the most pressing thing on my mind first is about the socks.
About the socks.
So what's the story with the socks?
I don't know if our friends with the cameras can see the socks. So the socks are for 12-year-old girls. They're made by a company called Little Mismatch. They come in 133 styles. You get 3 to a container. None of them match. And the entire marketing strategy of the company is that 12-year-old girls with a fashion problem, that's not all 12-year-old girls, just some members of the tribe who care about fashion, don't have enough to talk about during recess. And if for $10 they can have socks that don't match, that are colorful, they can go during recess and say to their friends the magic sentence, "Want to see my socks?"
Sure.
So when you say, "Want to see my socks," the other kid goes home and says to her mom, "I need new socks." And so the idea spreads. It's a purple cow. It's remarkable. It spreads to a tribe, not to everyone.
Yeah.
And so I wear them every day as a reminder that you can build a $40 million sock company on the basis of one sentence. I wear them because it's a reminder that doing what everyone has done for years isn't necessarily the right answer.
And it solves my personal problem, which is I constantly lose the companion sock. So you have to worry about finding its perfect
That's right.
match.
And sometimes I accidentally put on a pair. I have so many, a pair that match.
Yeah.
And I have to start over and mismatch them on purpose.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. There's a lot of things I want to ask you. Thank you so much for an advance copy of the book. I've read it now going on 1.5 times. It's a very different book than you've written before, right? It's very different from some of the others, Tribes and The Dip and Permission Marketing even. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, this time it's personal, and it's not personal about me, it's personal about you. That what I'm trying to say, and The Dip is a little bit of this, but most of my books have been strategic, conceptual, tactical. They're about how an organization interacts with the marketplace, how an organization interacts with a story or an idea. And what I heard from so many people who were in a lot of pain is that the strategies weren't working. And the reason was that the underlying bargain of our economy is busted. And so I had to take it down to the personal level and say, how does an individual navigate in a world where the Industrial Revolution is not only over, it's dead?
That's interesting. So I was thinking, when did you begin writing the book? You finished Tribes, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I started writing the book 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
The books have to come out in order, but they don't have to get written in order.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, because it's, I think, a really timely message. And I was just wondering, what is the process? And if you're I guess what I feel when I read your books is that you are a thought leader. Like you're far and ahead of the curve. And so in your typical fashion, you're already 1 or 2 steps ahead of everybody else. And sure enough, you've launched this book. Perfect timing for people who need to sort of reinvent themselves.
Yeah, I don't write books because I want to. I write books because I have to. Not because I have to do it to make a living, but because the idea deserves it, right? That it's not just a blog post. It's a chance to use paper and, a small transaction to get under someone's skin and tell a story that might resonate with them.
Right.
Sometimes a book takes me 2 weeks to write. 2 of the books I've written in 2 weeks. Sometimes a book takes me 5 or 10 years to write. And it's not like I wake up in the morning and go, boy, I wonder what book I'm going to write now. It's the idea arrives, and you have to serve the idea or you're going to kill it.
So what book were you writing 10 to 12 years ago when you were thinking about Linchpin? What book was then?
Well, I mean, I've tried to live a life and hire people and run organizations filled with linchpins. I didn't have words for it. The original title of the book was The Chef, the Cook, and the Bottle Washer. Because if you think about it, there are 3 kinds of people in every restaurant. Chefs, they're the ones who get all the fame. They're the ones who make up the recipes. They're the ones who get the money. Cooks, they're the ones who follow the recipes, but they're sort of interchangeable. And bottle washers, they're disrespected. They're often illegal aliens. They don't get paid anything, and it's really lousy to be one. And the question is, in every business, there's those 3 kinds of people. Which are you?
Got it. What's your expectation when you write a book? You must hope that it's going to do well, but do you have any preconceived expectations? You want to change the status quo. I mean, that seems to be a thread that runs through most of your books. Is fighting against old strategies that don't work anymore, and old ways of thinking that not working anymore. I don't think you're fighting against tradition that's still working, but you're fighting against the status quo.
Yeah, I'm fighting against stupidity, right? That what I do for a living is I notice things. And if I notice something that doesn't make sense anymore, it frustrates me. Because why are we doing something that doesn't make sense anymore? Why are people in pain? Why are people underutilized? Why are we disrespecting people who deserve to be respected?
Yeah.
So the reason to bother cutting down all those trees and waiting a year and putting it in all those stores and then having to promote it is so that a few people, and I don't care how many, but a few people are impacted by it. It's the best tool available to me without spending my day interacting with, hundreds of people every day. It's the easiest way for me to leverage an idea and to do it justice.
So speaking of interacting with hundreds of people every day, do you or do you not answer all your emails? Because I have a feeling that you do.
I certainly try to. If someone's going to bother to send me a non-anonymous email, I can certainly take the time to read it and write back. I'm certainly not a verbose correspondent, but I have no staff. I have someone I work with to create Hoopla. But if you see something with my name on it, I wrote every word of it.
Yeah, and why is that so important to you? Is it about making personal connections? Is it about engaging with your audience?
Yeah, I think it's about being a citizen, right? That community is really easy to get rid of when you're just bits and anonymous people and racing through. This is Orange County. There's a lot of movie stars around, and we've all seen that sort of glazed, stay away from me look. And that's really sad. It's sad for both sides, right? It's sad for the side that's constantly, throwing stuff at people and hoping that they'll catch it. But it's also sad for the person whose eyes are glazed over, who's isolating themselves.
Yeah.
So my goal is to be a citizen of whatever organization I'm in and whatever community I'm in. So if I'm going to create a community of people who read a book, I'd like to be a citizen of that community and contribute what I can contribute as much as I can.
Excellent. What's your favorite book to date?
Of mine?
Of yours, yeah. What are the book you're most proud of? The book you like the best?
Everyone is. I wouldn't write them differently each time. What I say to people is, I wrote a book called Survival's Not Enough. Charles Darwin wrote the foreword.
Right.
It came out 6 weeks after 9/11. Not a good time to launch a book about scary things. No one read that book. So if people ask me which book do I think is underserved, it's that one. I worked on it harder than any book I've ever written. It's got a lot of intricate things going on, and some people really liked it. If someone says to me, I've never read any of your books, what should I do? The Dip is only 85 pages long, so it's a good, fun place to start, and Purple Cow seems to resonate with a lot of people. So those are sort of the highlights. When you write a book, you're all by yourself for a really long time. You don't know what's going to resonate with people and what's not. And sometimes you write stuff that just doesn't work. And with a blog post, it's no big deal because tomorrow you can write another one.
Right.
But with a book, it's a year you spent, 2 years, and now it's nothing. So that's scary sometimes.
The blog post is probably one of the most read marketing blogs in the world. What is the process there? Is it you write something, you put it in a queue, and then you sort of change things around? Like you write posts in advance, I would think.
Yeah.
And then do you ever change your mind? Like, this has just become relevant. I'm going to switch this to the number one.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of deleting.
Yeah.
I probably write 2,000 posts a year and post 400. So, and I think about 20,000 posts a year. I walk into a hotel and I say, why do expensive hotels charge for Wi-Fi, but cheap hotels give it to you for free?
Yeah.
And that's a really good blog post. And then you think it through and you go, well, yeah, but it's sort of not that good a blog post because we don't run hotels who read this blog. So what is anyone going to do with that information? And then can I bring it into the idea of what is luxury today? And luxury used to mean something different than it means now. And then the next thing you know, I'm off to the next thing. So that's why blogs are great for people like me, because otherwise I'd be running around all the time and people would think I was just talking to myself.
Well, I think it's probably not just me who feels this way, but when I wake up to your blog and I read it, I feel sometimes like it's speaking directly to me.
Have you noticed the camera I've put in your kitchen? Because I'm watching every day.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, if you have a microwave oven made by GE or Sylvania, there's a special camera we've put in. I'm announcing it today for the first time.
Gotcha.
I've been watching everybody on the Opticon. So
now it all makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. So behave in your kitchen.
You talk a lot about fear. In the book, you talk a lot about overcoming fear, and you talk a little bit about the lizard brain. Talk to us about what the lizard brain is.
I think fear is the single most important emotion that any creature on Earth feels. That, Squirrels probably don't feel envy, but they feel fear. They don't say, that guy's got a lot more, what are those called, acorns than me.
Right.
So most of the decisions we make, the way we eat, where we live, the friends we make, fear is driving a lot of that. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is there's actually an evolutionary reason for that. There's a biological connection to part of our brain that does not want us to stand out. And for a really long time, that was effective. But what happened was the captains of industry built a system to take advantage of that. And now we're the suckers, and we've got to figure out how to stop doing that and realize the thing to be afraid of is fitting in.
Now, you've got great success. Your books are national bestsellers, and you're sort of marching to the beat of your own drum. But was there a day that you were afraid? What are some of the things that you used to be afraid of? I don't see you as being afraid of anything now.
I'm afraid every day.
Well, I mean, you called Steve Jobs on the carpet, right, when you made that post. I felt a little bit of, what's the word, like resentment in your voice, like Steve doesn't bother to call you back. What's the deal with that?
No, I don't mind if he doesn't call me back.
You don't care, right? It's like...
No, that was a joke. But if I'm not afraid, I'm not doing my job, right? What I do is I use it as a compass. The more afraid I am, the more likely it is that I need to do it.
Yeah.
And, the thing that I work very hard to do is not think about the fact that more than 10 people are reading my blog. It's way easier to write a good blog for 10 people than to write a good blog for more than that. So you have to calm the fear, but you also have to feel it because it's your compass that you're doing the right thing.
So what's next?
This is it. This is next.
Well, brilliant. It's an amazing book. I really think it's a timely and important message for a lot of people.
Thank you.
It's about creating art and shipping and just doing stuff. And, I think you had me at Permission Marketing, and I've been a huge fan ever since. But I know that you're making a huge impact in the lives of many people and changing the game yet again with Linchpin. It's an incredible book.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I really appreciate the time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Brian.